Welcome. You're listening to Ask the Doulas, a podcast where we talk to experts from all over the country about topics related to pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and early parenting. Let's chat.
Hello, this is Kristin Revere with Ask the Doulas, and I am thrilled to chat with Jackie Hutson today. Jackie is the owner and founder of Piper and Mint, and she's a fellow podcast co-host, The Sourcing Gals. It's a podcast that lifts the veil on manufacturing and helping other idea makers launch their own product-based businesses. So welcome, Jackie. Our topic is so important, and we're talking about postpartum night sweats and a bit about how Piper and Mint has solved the problem that you personally experienced.
Yes, it is so great to be here, Kristin. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk with you and talk about my journey and my postpartum journey and my journey to get pregnant. It was a long one, to be honest.
So tell us more about what led you to create Piper and Mint.
So I had about a 3-year fertility journey. And it's so funny, right? You go your whole life trying not to get pregnant. And then I remember the time where I was like, oh, and we're trying now. And I thought, I mean, this is so silly. We even went on a vacation. And during that vacation, like, okay, I can't eat turkey. I can't go in a hot tub. I mean, so silly that I was like already thinking that this thing had happened. I need to take care of myself. And turns out it took almost 3 years. I had a bicoordinate uterus, I found out. I had a septum. I had to get like a big mass of tissue removed. Like all these things were test after test and just, finding one more hurdle after the next. So finally, we had a successful pregnancy and I did in fact have my son, but you would think after 3 years of infertility, like I read a lot of books, but the one thing I never seemed to read about and did not hear from my OBGYN was postpartum night sweats. So I remember I was literally 3 days postpartum, first child, right? So you were just trying to live, basically survive,
Right.
I like to say. And I wake up drenched in sweat. And the first thing I thought was, oh my goodness, I think I read about this. This must be mastitis. And I thought, but I'm like, then thinking like, oh, but my breasts don't hurt and I'm nursing fine. And again, quick Google search. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is just my hormones. Like this is my hormones and this is postpartum night sweats. And I started circulating this conversation with friends and realizing that this is something that there's not a lot of data out there statistically, but what I have found is roughly the research that has been done, about 50% of postpartum women will experience night sweats. And then anecdotally, what I have found with launching my brand now is that some of those women have it for a short period of time. My night sweats were actually a fairly short duration, maybe a week to 2 weeks. But I have a lot of mamas that I talk to that are in 9 months, 10 months, a year postpartum and still having chronic night sweats. So it's really, not a one size fits all, but it was something that I had experienced. My background is actually in product development and manufacturing. I've worked in corporate retail for over 20 years, helping other brands launch businesses. And really what happened was these postpartum night sweats were just, again, the few precious hours of sleep you get as a new mom. And then all of a sudden you're being woken, drenched in sweat.
Right.
And do you take a shower? Do you sleep on a towel? Like all these things that people say you can do, but it's not really getting to the root cause of the issue. You're still having to wake up, change your clothes, wear a workout shirt, what someone said. And it's like, okay, well, but I'm nursing. Like workout shirts are not conducive in the middle of the night feedings when you're trying to nurse. So the wheel started to turn and a friend actually came to me and said, hey, you know how to make product. And she was actually experiencing the same thing. And so she's like, you can make something to solve this, basically. And what's so interesting is my son that I had this experience with is now 12 years old. And I just a year and a half ago launched this business. So that shows you how long I kind of sat with this idea. And it just, in hindsight, I think the timing couldn't have been better. Like I know so much more now than I did 12 years ago about life, about business, manufacturing, being an entrepreneur. But it really was that problem that I saw and realizing when I looked in the market, there was nobody fixing it. Like there was nobody, even 12 years later, the solve wasn't there. And so that's what really gave me the confidence to launch Piper and Mint.
And that is what it's all about. I feel like moms get things done and we see a need and we go
Yes.
out there and fix it. And you happen to have that perfect background to be able to launch without
Yeah.
needing to hire advisors or really seek out. I have friends that have started mom brands and they didn't have the background you did. So it was more of a challenge and
Yeah.
they needed a team of support behind them. And you already had that experience. But I agree that it is different anecdotally, like from my own experience to supporting birth and postpartum clients over the years. Some, depending again on their feeding and their recovery journey and their own like internal hormone fluctuations that they deal with, may have a more extended period of time with those night sweats. And
Yeah.
as you mentioned, the importance of needing the nursing tanks that you have developed and the ease to not only offer the cooling, but also the ability to feed your baby, or for the exclusive pumping moms, the ability to pump
Totally.
overnight. Or
Yep.
if they're, wearing the pajamas during the day, which many moms do
Yes.
in that recovery time.
Yep. And that's okay, as they should. They need to be caring for themselves as much as that baby. So, yes. And what was really important for me was finding fabric also that was safe for mom and baby. That is a big part of my journey as well, is finding within this world of manufacturing that I come from, right? Like sustainability, like how can we be sustainable? How can we think about the environment? How can we think about the chemicals that we're putting on our bodies? So it was all these things of that motherhood has taught me. And then pulling on those strings to your point of my product development background and understanding how to make product. And to be fair, there was a network of people behind me, but luckily those were people that I had worked with along my corporate journey that were very excited to come in and like just lend a hand, like, hey, you should try this fabric. Hey, you should try this factory and different things like that. So I will say that it was all those different components that kind of built what the brand is now, which we are a mint-infused pajama line. And that sounds like, oh, mint. But the mint actually doesn't, the PJs don't smell like mint itself. But what mint gives you,
Correct.
it's a natural antibacterial. So what happens is if you have a night sweat, the mint kills the odor. So you don't wake up in the morning smelling like it. And one of the most like fun things that happened when I was the very early stages of this, seeding out my product to a new mama, actually a neighbor of mine, she's like, Jackie, I don't wake up smelling like breast milk in the morning. And I was like, oh my gosh, we all know that smell, that dried breast
Oh,
milk
yes.
smell that you get. And right, it's just a part of postpartum life, but it makes sense because the mint in the yarns, it's like a patented technology that we take and we extract the mint botanicals, we infuse it in the yarns, and it makes it naturally antibacterial. And then also you can imagine mint is a cooling herb, right? It's a cooling plant. So the fabric itself just also gets that really cool touch to it. And then a lot of pajamas on the market and a lot of baby products use bamboo, which is a great fabric. But we actually use modal, which I like to say is the better sister to bamboo because modal actually performs better. It wicks sweat away faster and dries quicker. And it also still is very sustainably sourced like bamboo. It comes from beech tree pulp versus bamboo pulp. So you're still in the same family in regards to safe products for you and for baby. But I have found with my testing and my focus group feedbacks and my mamas, again, that have been, sweating for months that I finally got these PJs in their hands. They're like, wow, like this changed my nights. And rest is just, it's so important and it's so hard to get as a new mom. Even as a mom now, I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, and getting rest is here and
Oh,
here and
yes.
there where I can get it in, right? But I do think that Piper Mint is more than just pajamas. Like it really is about letting women know it's okay to invest in yourself. Like your rest and your self-care is even more important, to be honest, than the babies, because you need to be a whole, as whole as you can be so that you can actually give, not just like emotionally, but like nutritionally, right? Like you're literally feeding your baby if you are breastfeeding or pumping. And so it was really trying to take into account all of those aspects, motherhood, the journey, and then even with my fertility journey, back then, there was not the same community that I see out there today. I mean, it makes
Agree.
me so like warms my heart so much to see on Instagram people sharing. I mean, Instagram was just coming out when I had my son. I mean, it wasn't a platform where you had a voice, you know, it was a picture platform. So the fact that now Instagram and social media and even people like yourself, like the amazing doula community that you are building, like all of these things that have happened to help support women through that journey. You know, I felt so lonely in my fertility journey. I had 2 miscarriages, which also was very, very lonely. And actually, I should say they weren't even miscarriages. They were lost pregnancies, but I had to go through DNCs with both of them, which was by far the most traumatic thing that I had ever gone through at the time. And so just knowing that there is such great community out there, I wish I would have had that. Like, I so wish I would have had that. And it's still some trauma I'm even dealing with today, you know, because I didn't have that support. I didn't have that community. And so now to be able to play a part in that, we actually give a portion of every pajama sold goes back to this amazing nonprofit organization called Baby Quest. And if you don't know it, you should definitely look it up. But it was started by a mom and her daughter. Her daughter was going through really hard infertility and realizing that a lot of families don't even have the opportunity to go through fertility treatment because they can't afford it. So it's an organization that provides grants to couples and people that need that extra financial help to actually have a chance at creating their family. So all these things that just are a part of me, a part of motherhood, I feel so blessed that I could like roll them up into a business and help women in so many ways right now.
Hey, Alyssa here. I'm just popping in to tell you about our course called Becoming. Becoming a Mother is your guide to a confident pregnancy and birth, all in a convenient 6-week online program. From birth plans to sleep training and everything in between, you'll gain the confidence and skills you need for a smooth transition to motherhood. Live coaching calls with me and Kristin, tons of expert videos including chiropractic care, pelvic floor physical therapy, mental health experts, breastfeeding, and so much more. You'll also get a private Facebook community with other mothers going through this at the same time as you to offer support and encouragement when you need it most. If you'd like to learn more about the course, you can email us at info@goldcoastdoulas.com or check it out at thebecomingcourse.com. We would love to see you there. We also have a book called Supported, Your Guide to Birth and Baby, which makes a beautiful companion to this course. It's a great book for any expecting mother and is the perfect baby shower gift. You can find information on that book at supportedbook.com.
That's what it's all about. So my business, Gold Coast Doulas, is a certified B Corp. So giving back in not only time, but also financially to causes especially targeted to serving low-income women and children is our core focus. And so I totally understand wanting to have a for-profit business, but also do good in the world. And
correct
your own personal journey in picking that nonprofit, which in today's day, like nonprofits are underfunded and the federal grants are not as available. So the fact that businesses are helping sustain organizations like Baby Quest, in my opinion, is so important.
Yeah, it's been an awesome journey, and it's been great to connect with other moms and hear about their journeys that they're going through, and also seeing, you know, how our pajamas really are helping women. And that was the whole point, right? Like it was a purpose-driven business in regards to there was a need in the market that I saw. There's an issue that we're dealing with. And to be honest, we haven't talked about this yet, but you know, unfortunately, those postpartum night sweats, they tend to revisit you later in life during this phase called perimenopause and menopause, which I am just as a mid 40 something, young 40 something, just starting to experience that myself. And so it's been really exciting. I launched the business fully supporting the postpartum market. That was our pajamas. They're nursing friendly. They're actually for pregnancy as well. I have a lot of mamas who are going through IVF treatments and their hormones are shifting. They're having night sweats because of that as well, or their injection sites are really tender. And so our pajamas are made with really, really soft fabric and really soft, stretchy elastic to help grow with your belly and also be able to rest above your incision lines, like all these things that I've tried to keep in mind when developing the product. But we launched and all of a sudden I have all these slightly different demographic of women that were starting to send me messages like, hey, what about us? And it was all these women in perimenopause and menopause that are struggling for longer durations of time, to be honest. You can be sweating for years in that phase. And so it's been
Oh,
really,
yeah.
so basically we got that information and said, oh my goodness, like that wasn't my experience yet, right? I wasn't there yet. So I didn't even think about it. And we have now since added, non-postpartum pajamas, and it ends up that it's a majority of our business right now. And so the fact
That
that
is
we
an
can,
amazing pivot. And
yes, it
menopause
is.
and
It
period are
is.
having their moment right
They
now.
are. They
So,
are. I just spent last weekend in New York at this big Naomi Watts event called The Swell. She's creating community for women's health, specifically women's health in midlife. And I just think in
yes,
general that women's health, we're finally talking about it. And not we were always talking about it, but other people are finally talking about it. And it's actually getting a little bit more of a microphone. Now, still so much has to be done. There's still so much of a lack of research and right, all the things and coverage. Like there's so much more we as a society, we need support on. But the fact that we're talking about these things, the fact that there are podcasts like yours talking about, the journey for those going through, fertility and pregnancy and postpartum, like I just love the vibrations that are happening in the universe right now in regard to women's health and actually shining a light that like, yes, we do need support and there are tools and things that are out there. And we just need to make sure we're educating other women about it because science has told us one thing, but the data is telling us something totally different.
exactly. Yes. And I have a pair of your shorts and tank from a couple of years ago.
Yes. Sounds
And
like our
I
OG
am
launch.
totally, and I am in the thick of perimenopause and love, how soft they still are and the cooling effect. And it's perfect because
That's
for
awesome.
me, the stage is not changing and I'm still
Yes.
having the night sweats. And yes, so I so appreciate being able to personally speak to your brand when talking about options for pajamas with my birth clients, with my students, and our postpartum clients. And I find that, I have preteen and a teenager. And, when I had kids, like we didn't have fashionable PJs to wear in the
Yes.
hospital. We wore the gown or like our
Yep.
own clothes.
Yep.
But now, I mean, you have these cute nursing tank sets. So when people are wanting their pictures in the hospital or if they're having a home birth to have, cute tops, but still functional, then you have some great colors to choose from. And I certainly suggest your brand.
Thank you. And we're actually coming out with a lot of new styles this holiday too. So we'll have some button down styles. We'll also have some nightgowns. So we've had a lot of C-section mamas say, hey, I would love your pajamas, but can you do it in a nightgown? Because I literally want nothing touching my belly, which I get. I had a C-section with my second child. So we're going to have some kind of oversized sleep tees, you can call them, nightgowns coming out as well. And then we have a lot of our perimenopausal women that want tanks, but not the nursing friendly kind. They just want, a
Right.
regular non-nursing tank. So we have those coming out as well. And then the other exciting thing is, when you think about postpartum night sweats or, menopausal night sweats, you sweat in lots of places. And the magic is I basically where the fabric is touching you is where the magic happens. So even if you sweat on your legs, you might think, oh, I wear shorts because I sweat on my legs. No, you actually want our pants then because our pants where the fabric touches where you're sweating, it's going to wick it away and dry quickly. And so the other request was a lot of women where we sweat behind our neck, right? So we are coming out with pillowcases this holiday as well. And even husbands are like, wait a minute, where do we get in? I'm like, well, they can get a pillowcase for now. And we're even talking about maybe sheets for next year as well. So we're definitely excited to be expanding the product assortment as the business continues to grow, as we continue to get momentum. We're working with some really amazing new mama influencers that have really just latched onto our brand and really believe in what we're doing and building. And so it's just been, again, exciting to see this community that is coming out to help, me. And it's really just me. And I have an amazing girl that helps me from a marketing standpoint. But that's it. I've self-funded this and I believe that hopefully I can help inspire other women, which is why, to your point, I have another podcast that really talks about the realities of launching a product-based business and how so many of us women have these wonderful ideas in our head. And sometimes they just stay in our head. I mean, my own ideas stayed in my head for over 10 years, So I'm hoping that by hearing my story and knowing that, yes, I did have a background in product development, but I knew nothing about marketing. So, while someone might come from a different perspective than me, they might need help with the product side, but maybe they really understand how to market and build community. So there's still things that I'm still learning a lot every day about the business, but I look back and say, wow, like we've accomplished so much in a year and a half and we're helping so many women. And just some of the DMs that I've been getting, again, from a lot of new mamas that are just like, this is just one less thing I have to worry about at night. This is just like brings me comfort. Or again, I'm wearing them during the day and I don't want to take them off. It's like, that just warms my soul to know that they've invested in themselves or they put it on their registry. And so someone else gifted them, and they're getting to enjoy a little bit of comfort during a very, postpartum is a very hard time. Just so much happening to your body, lack of sleep, all the things that go into it. So it's just been great to hear the positive feedback from people.
I bet. So what are your other tips for our listeners around that postnatal recovery phase?
Each person is different, but I really got a lot better about asking for help with my second child than my first. I think my first, I thought, well, I want to do this. I want to learn this on my own. And I just realized, there's nothing for those that have, strong relationships with their mothers. Like my mother came and I think she stayed with me maybe for 1 or 2 weeks with my first, my second one. I'm like, you're staying for 3 months. Like you're staying for my whole maternity leave. And just having that, community that back in the olden days, everyone that grew up with these, really tribes, right? These like groups of women that would help support. So I think number one is, it's okay to ask for help and you should ask for help, but then also setting boundaries too. And it's okay to say, hey, I need some alone time. I remember with my first son, it was a day where we just had a lot of friends and family stopping by. And I remember it was like going in the post lunch and I just started crying. My mom's like, what's wrong? I was like, I haven't held my baby today, I feel like, because everybody else was holding the baby, right? She's like, okay, we're going to get everybody to leave and give you your own time. So while I say like lean into that community and ask for help, it's also just as important to have your boundaries. And those boundaries are going to change, right? Like I had an idea of what my postpartum journey was going to be like, and then it all went out the window, right? When it actually happens and your hormones kick in and the sleep patterns, right? So I think it's also okay to say, you know what? No, I actually want some alone time right now. No, like, thank you, but I don't actually need the help. Or no, I'm not ready for you to come over and see my baby just yet, right? Like those are all okay things as well. So I really believe that, you need to be your own advocate in that way. And both when you're asking for help and then also when you're setting those boundaries of when you might actually need some time alone with the baby. So I would say that. And then again, just as best as you can, taking care of yourself again when you can. And that's a little bit in tandem with asking for help, like go take that shower. Like those showers, I can just remember how amazing it feels to get those showers in, right? So, knowing that it's going to be okay, lean in when you need it, set those boundaries when you need it, but, be sure you're not for totally dismissing yourself in this because you are the heart of that baby, literally. Like you are breathing, you breathe life into it and you are feeding it. And so you need to make sure you can find those opportunities, those windows, although they might be small, to really make sure you're taking care of yourself too.
Love it. So how can our listeners connect with you, Jackie? I know you're all over social. You have an amazing site.
Oh, thank you. So our website is piperandmint.com. That's PIPERANDMINT. And basically it's the same handle for everything. So we're super active on Instagram at Piper and Mint. TikTok, we're starting to try to dip our toe more in the water there. So more to come, but we're definitely super active on Instagram. And like I said, I have a podcast. If you are someone that's listening, being like, oh, I've been thinking about an idea. I wonder if I should do something with it. That's at The Sourcing Gals. And we're on Apple and Spotify and YouTube for that as well. And then also, if you are someone that's like, I want to check out these jammies, Gold Coast Doulas is actually an affiliate of ours. So if they go into our website and they add to cart, they can use the promotional code Gold Coast Doulas at checkout and get an extra 10% off. And that usually will stack with a site-wide promotion. So if you are running or if you're waiting for a 15% off site-wide sale, you can actually add that Gold Coast Doulas at checkout and get an extra 10% kicker. So it's a really great opportunity for us to kind of share the love back with your listeners. And, thank you for this amazing opportunity to talk about my postpartum journey and also the brand that we're building.
I love it. And so they can connect with you, as you mentioned, at piperandmint.com.
Yep. And send me DMs. I love hearing stories. If you end up purchasing our PJs or if you already own them, like send me pictures, DMs. It's so fun to kind of see them in the wild and hear the responses from our mamas and our women.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Jackie, and making an amazing product.
Thank you so much, Kristin.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Ask the Doulas. For more information about Gold Coast Doulas, visit us on our website, goldcoastdoulas.com. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you like this podcast, please subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Thank you. Remember, these moments are golden.